Welcome to BrownCast Ultra Special Edition. Dun 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 dun. Ba dun dun na 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 na. All right. If you haven't guessed what we are reviewing today, we are reviewing Jurassic World, newest summer release for this kind of abysmal, fairly abysmal, I think is maybe what we're landing on. We're only halfway through it.
Yeah.
Also,
the
something we have discussed and debated, and I think we can declare it's about halfway.
Yeah,
maybe a third
through the summer season. Yeah. Definitely. This has not been like previous years.
Yeah.
But there's always Ant-Man.
Yeah, part of it I think is they're expanding now, though. Summer season starts earlier.
Yeah.
Ends a little bit later.
Well, we had Mad Max.
We did have Mad Max, and we did at least enjoyed that. And I would say, a lot of other reviews for Jurassic World are looking fair to decent. You'll see what we have to say about it, but it probably lands in the... that kind of mid-range of movies. But we'll get into that. So I'm your host, Kyle.
And I am Alec.
The other host. And we're going to take some time here to unpack some Jurassic Park. Jurassic World. Completely different movie. Completely different. Anyway, so we're going to unpack Jurassic World, and per usual, we're going to start off with our kind of general review of the film, and then we'll move on to a spoiler section. So if you don't want to be spoiled, we'll give a fair warning there, so you can listen to it after you watch the movie. So, with no further ado, move on to the Jurassic World review, non-spoilers.
Non-spoilers. Alright, Jurassic World. So, this whole story, this is 22 years after the events of the first movie. The island has been kind of completely overhauled, and it is now a fully functional Jurassic amusement park where everything is running swimmingly. But in the way all corporate structures are, people are getting bored of dinosaurs, and so the owner of the park, along with his co-owner's engine, they create a new dinosaur for the attracting and viewing public called the Indominus Rex. And, no spoiler alert, bad things happen.
Yeah.
It
really doesn't take long for the main bad dinosaur to just kind of jump in. I mean, it's like 10 minutes, at least.
So the Indominus Rex gets out, and it's up to Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard to join together and stop the dinosaur. Yeah, see,
when you say it like that, I don't know if that's actually factually accurate, but we'll get into that. So I guess we want to start out by saying, you're kind of returning to Jurassic World. Jurassic World is a return to that kind of feeling, and that's kind of that seeing the first Jurassic Park, which is a classic Steven Spielberg movie.
Except with this one, when you say, I'd have to say on that statement of return to the feelings of Jurassic Park, it's that, but with the movie makers trying to make every moment more grandiose. So a lot of it is they're trying to make a lot of those moments that captured you in the earlier part of Jurassic Park way bigger, which works and doesn't for me, because it's like, it makes sense in this world. The park has been running for a while now, and it's like one of the biggest attractions, so everything would be larger and more scenic and more, out there with today's, because it kind of coincides with kind of the way, like, technology has kind of progressed since the first movie, you know?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. That was actually pretty. I felt that aspect of it was actually pretty realistic.
Yeah,
Like all the technology and kind of like the countermeasures throughout the film. Park. It is a fully functioning park. It's nothing like Jurassic Park,
where
World.
Newman can come and ruin everything.
Yeah, although it is on the same island.
It is on the same island.
Yeah, which kind of like plays into like the film. And they kind of they do reference. I mean, you can say right about this. They do reference it a lot, if only to kind of say like to kind of establish, that we're back in this world. So,
Yeah,
and,
like,
hey
hey
in
guys,
the context of the
remember
film,
this
it was
movie?
like the first movie is like this disaster that happened like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they kind of feel like they've learned from their mistakes now, and so they have this fully functioning Jurassic World, complete with a set of 2 children, who kind of one of your main. I mean, there's really no exact like main protagonist. The film kind of jumps from like character to character to character fairly equally.
Yeah,
I would say, and. I mean, the arcs are maybe kind of weird, and I'll talk about that later. They kind of did so. They kind of jump between like your 2 children, Chris Pratt character, Bryce Dallas Howard character, and then kind of a mix of like the owner of the park and the engine company man.
Yeah. Which
played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and I can't remember the name of the guy that plays the
park owner.
The park owner, Life of Pi.
It's Irfan Khan.
Okay,
if I'm pronouncing, I probably have.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or no. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm probably ruined the pronunciation, so I apologize.
Yeah. Well, from Life of Pi, so
yeah.
I immediately recognized him from. Back to the kids, though. So you have these kids, and they're going to visit their aunt, who is the Bryce Dallas Howard character, who is kind of like pretty much the boss of the park. I mean, I don't remember her if it's ever said what her exact job title is.
She's like she's the supervisor of the whole.
Yeah, she seems to be just overseeing everything.
Yeah.
And especially the top secret classified stuff, like this new genetically engineered dinosaur they kind of created. I mean, they're all genetically engineered dinosaurs, I guess is kind of a point of the film, but this is like a new species of dinosaur.
If those who grew up in the 90s and early 2000s remember the Dino Fusion toys, it's kind of like that.
I don't remember those.
You don't remember the Dino Fusion toys? Oh, man.
Mm-mm.
Well, for those who
were they Jurassic Park brand?
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
We had
official Jurassic Park Dino Fusion. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, it is very similar to that actually.
It really is.
So, and this new breed of this new species of dinosaur has just like all these superpowers.
So many superpowers.
We're not gonna list them out until spoilers, but because that's kind of like a big part of the film is that you don't quite know. You don't quite know until the end of the film just what this creature is capable of. Yeah. You're just going through it. You're going through it, and then it proves to be a pretty good like antagonist for a film at the very least.
As far
at the very least. The way it was kind of, I don't know. It's hard to talk about without spoiling it. Yeah. But it kind of like it just gets worse and worse, which is what you need for this kind of. It's almost like Jurassic Park and Jurassic. This is kind of follows the kind of Jurassic Park mold where it's like almost a disaster film.
Yeah. I will say this, like
with dinosaurs.
Yeah. My thing is with this movie, my personal thing is I didn't care for this movie all that much. I will say before we get like into the nitty-gritty, before we start like getting negative about this, because we're gonna kind of get negative. For those who are wanting like a summer movie about dinosaurs, it does fulfill that. Like if you're just looking for a just entertaining movie with dinosaurs in it, it does fill that niche. You get plenty of dinosaurs.
Yeah,
plenty
it's like
of
more
just
dinosaurs,
crazy, like,
more dinosaur fights, more like dinosaur attacks, like more. There's definitely a higher body count in this movie than Jurassic Park, and lots of the dinosaur action. I mean, all your main dinosaurs kind of like make their like cameo appearances.
I would hardly say cameo, but
there's some. In spoilers, there was a cameo, a dinosaur. There's like a total cameo for a dinosaur, but I don't want to spoil that. So. But yes, no, but I definitely agree. You know, it was just kind of like this fun movie. There were a lot of kids in our.
There was a lot of kids
in our theater,
which is something where I guess speak for myself, but like I'm not used to seeing movies where there are lots of kids because we usually go at times when they aren't like there.
Yeah.
So that was a little like it throws you off when you hear like kids just that
kind of experience. Like they love the dinosaur stuff and like not a peep out of them. You know when like the T-Rex shows up or the kind of planes of like pachyderm dinos and not a peep out of them. But then every time it's like a character scene. It's it's like McDonald's playground in there, but
totally.
And it's kind of my review of the film is that the dinosaur stuff is really great, but don't come looking for. It doesn't have that same kind of meaning and that same kind of heart that the first one did.
Definitely,
for sure. I mean, this is a little bit. I mean, I won't go. This is definitely probably a better movie than Jurassic Park 3.
I would agree. This one at the very
without a Sam Neill, Pratt, but Chris Pratt was pretty good.
He was good. He was a little wasted because they just don't utilize his charisma.
They don't really. Well, I mean, seems like his character was mostly charisma, but I don't think they utilized his. You know what I mean? I think his character doesn't have an arc.
Yeah, he's the same throughout the movie.
Yeah, like, he isn't, he's just kind of always right.
He's never proven wrong. Like, there's no, am I wrong about my opinion thing.
Yeah, it's never even really, it's not really called into question. He's always just kind of the voice of reason. But he fulfills, for sure.
Yeah.
I enjoyed his performance, for sure. Not so much for Bryce Dallas Howard. Although it seems kind of evidence of bad direction as far as that goes, because she kind of,
she doesn't, she's introduced.
I don't really know, you don't really figure out, what was her, what lesson was she supposed to learn from all this? Like, they kind of throw all these hints about, hey, you shouldn't mess with genetic mutation and things like, oh, hey, you should see these as animals and not numbers on a page. I guess because she's all business, right?
Yeah, and then there's the you got to get in touch with your family and all this.
Yeah, you need to be more. Yeah, you need to spend more time with your family, and it's kind of where the nephews come in. And sure. Okay, so she spends more time with her nephews because of, a disaster. That's pretty similar to the, Alan Grant kind of arc of the first movie. So, okay, I'll buy that happened for sure. But that's really a very small part. I mean, the kid's role is more about their kind of situation where they, they're going to visit their aunt, and their parents are about to get divorced.
Yeah,
and I kind of send them on this big, really fun trip to Jurassic World to see their aunt who runs it, and before I guess things get really bad. Because divorce can be hard.
And
on
with the kids,
such.
The kids have some really great scenes. Like there's
some
really good moments with them, and
kind of unfortunately kind of undercut by the pacing of the film.
Yeah,
I felt a lot of the kids scenes, while very good, and I think those actors did a good job. And I was really buying it. It was just that I felt like they were always placed in the wrong spot in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it always just kind of like slowed the movie down.
Definitely. One of the things I guess I could say, one of the things with this movie, what they were trying to do that doesn't work for them, is this movie seems like all these characters are like rehashes of the first Jurassic Park. So like you got the two kids who are like the kids in the first movie. Chris Pratt's kind of like a fusion of Dr. Grant and Ian Malcolm. Just kind of like molded.
He's from the Navy.
Yeah.
And from the Navy.
You learn to train raptors.
Yep.
That's in the commercial. I don't know if you see Navy commercials now. That's like a thing they tell you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'll have this... When you come out of the Navy, you'll have the skills to train.
They're like, in the Navy, serve your country, get a college education, train raptors.
Well, I don't think it was ever implied that he trained raptors while in the Navy.
I know it's not, but it's just like...
But his Navy skills definitely... Something about being in the Navy made him just like a natural at it. You know what I mean? Like they're doing they're doing something. They're doing something right.
Yeah.
So,
but and then you've got the Vincent D'Onofrio character who's like this fusion of just generic bad guy.
Yeah, like the lawyer in the first movie.
He's like the lawyer, Nedry, and Dotson.
Yeah, well, not so much Nedry, because Nedry's just there's no Nedry in this, actually.
Well, he's Nedry.
They don't need a Nedry because the Indominus Rex really does all the... how is he like Nedry? I don't...
Just the whole greedy, kind of seedy character. Not necessarily in the shutting park down stuff aspect, but the whole I'm only in it for me and I will completely throw anyone under the bus and not care.
Dude, did you think that? I mean, I didn't feel he was bad a character.
Without spoiling, it only comes really forward in the last scene with him.
Yeah, but I guess to discuss that, I kind of felt some of that stuff was kind of out of place. Sure.
With this whole movie,
I have a huge kind of
with this movie, the whole main issue was it feels like you had a lot of hands at the helm with directors, producers, studio people all pulling in different directions, and I feel like there's a good 10 minutes of Chris Pratt and the kids and the girl scenes with them that were taken out because we spent so much money on dinosaur CGI and this movie's too long and we're not getting rid of the dinosaur CGI. We already paid for it.
That would definitely explain the kind of weird pacing.
Yeah.
And the lack of the confusing character stuff.
Yeah, because there's a whole... There's one that it stuck out to me because there's this one part where the dinosaur is the dinosaur's out, He's out, and this is early beginning, and then they're in the command center thinking about the park patrons, and then it cuts to a shot that was in the trailer of people kayaking down a river with some stegosauruses sitting on the edge. It's okay, this was not... This is beginning scene stuff. I don't know why you're pulling this out right now. Yeah. We're in the middle of a crisis here,
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll probably go ahead and move on to spoilers soon. Final words before spoilers. I say 2 out of 5 for me. The fun dinosaur stuff, and at the beginning you get a real nostalgia when the music starts and they go through the gate, and all that. So that for fun, but the character stuff just did not work at all. Probably like you said, due to a lot of the character stuff was left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. So with this movie, I'm going to say that I think the verdict on this one's going to be people are going to like this because I know I've actually known quite a bit of people that have really liked it, and I think a lot of people are going to really like this. But this movie's not going to be memorable, and it's not going to have staying power. You know,
exactly.
People are not going to really remember what happened in this movie outside of there's a new dinosaur and
the new dinosaur park.
Yeah, and Chris Pratt and,
The Raptor Squad.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
Yeah, we can't...
we can spoil that.
Can't talk about it. Alright, so we're going to move on to spoilers before we go crazy and ruin a movie for someone.
Yep.
If you wanted dinosaurs, hey... Power to you, go see it. But if you're really wanting some solid movie story-wise, then maybe wait at least for rental.
Yeah.
So here are spoilers now. So, spoilers. No Raptor Squad.
Yes, Raptor Squad. Well, all the Raptor Squad is really just limited to those scenes you saw in the trailer.
Yeah, so it's like 1 minute of Raptor Squad. I think that was a sad thing.
I guess. I didn't go into this expecting a whole lot.
Neither did I.
I don't think it even meant really that. And granted, I think I was much more upset after I saw the movie, as you might recall. I was pretty upset about how I was like, it's terrible. And I was happy
gave
it a day to do the review because
just needed to wind down.
Take a step back. It's not terrible. And so you're not gonna, like I said, there's not like anything there. There's not like a lesson to be learned, not like the first one.
Yeah.
But was it ever going to be the first one? I mean, it's kind of like saying like, oh man, let's make a movie that's as good as Indiana Jones. That was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Let's.
Hey guys, let's remake Total Recall. People were really clamoring.
Yeah,
we can do it better.
Let's just make more Star Wars movies.
Pretty much.
So it was obviously it's never going to be good, and so like the question then becomes like, how does this movie stand up like on its own merits?
On its own merits. You know what? I think on its own merits, I will stand by what I said. Like, if you want a mindless movie, I think this will work really well. Kind of like it's gonna be a good like mindless. I think people will keep on it like when it gets on TV and stuff. Mm-hmm. It'll be one of those ones that does better on television. I think, to be quite honest, I think more people will like have more fondness for it when they're not paying $10 to go see it in theaters.
Yeah, and we didn't see it in 3D, so we have no idea how the 3D is. I had no real desire to see it in 3D.
Me neither, but you and I are both in that stance of, like, we're so sick of 3D overuse nowadays. That,
and especially in movies like this that are just very high CGI.
Yeah.
It's just kind of your eyes just, you just can't follow it all that well. It just doesn't feel
good. It is true. Like, speaking of high CGI, it still is really telling that the best looking dinosaur was a practical effect.
Yeah, with the Brontosaurus.
Yeah, like Brontosaurus laying on the ground.
Dying.
Still.
Yeah, that was a pretty powerful scene for me.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
they said Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt, they nailed it in that one.
Yeah.
It was fantastic, watching a animatronic dinosaur die, but... So yeah, best dinosaur scene.
Yeah, it really speaks because it's like it's there. I know you can't do everything in practical. Like I get that they couldn't do most of this movie in practical, but there's still something to be said for utilizing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like new and like great about this movie, right? That's just, like the bottom of it. It's just dinosaur fun. And, just go have fun.
Yeah.
We do know BrownCast Ultra is an advocate of fun. So
yes, we are.
We're not going to go so bad as to say, like, avoid this movie.
Yeah, don't go see it.
Yeah.
Movie sucks. Dinosaurs are stupid.
Yeah, it's, yeah, but, I think that maybe my issue with it was that I went in at least thinking that it would have this simple little like character story kind of interlocked with like the dinosaur scenes. Like, I mean, quite honestly, all the other ones did.
Yeah.
Like, well, this one didn't do very well. That's why, like, as far as whether or not it's better or worse than Jurassic Park 3, I'm not sure. I probably enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Jurassic Park 3. It's just that the Jurassic Park 3 at least had like a pretty clear story, even though it was like pretty simple.
Yeah. You know, the difference, I would say the difference is like with this one is Jurassic Park 3 I felt has bad acting in it. Like, I think that's more what that is. I think Jurassic World 3 has the poor acting, and that's why I think this one stands better. Because, with the exception of Bryce Dallas Howard being kind of like having no direction, so she's just kind of like...
Well, yeah, and that's what I want to talk about.
She floats through scenes. She's just kind of like...
Well, that's the end thing. She starts out just like this heavy, hard businesswoman.
Yeah.
Just like always... just always on top of everything and everybody's boss, and she's really like anal about everything, and then like as soon as like the Indominus Rex breaks out, she immediately becomes damsel in distress.
Yeah, which was unfortunate because it's like
I was interested in that. When this movie started, the first like 10-15 minutes of the movie actually pretty good.
Yeah,
like I was getting into it. I was definitely getting into it.
I liked, I liked her. I liked the eccentric owner guy.
Yeah,
he had like this great John Hamm. That was one of the, I think, as coming back a couple days now from seeing it, I really am upset that this guy the owner character didn't last very long because he was a great character.
We missed out on that. He was like a young John Hammond.
Yeah, and I was liking him. Like, I really was, because it was also... especially because they don't explain that he owns Jurassic World and InGen owns the dinosaurs really well.
Yeah, they have trouble with that. Yeah. I did not get that at first.
Yeah, and it would have been really cool to have at least one more moment where he's like calling out these guys. You know?
Particularly towards the end, it would have been great. Yeah, he definitely bit the dust too early. But I feel like there's if you could recut this movie, maybe fan cuts are becoming such a big thing these days that I could see someone maybe doing a fan cut of this movie, and I think it would actually be at least a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because he dies a little bit too early. The kid stuff is all in the weird spots that kind of killed it, especially towards the end. I mean, you were kind of like bugged by that kayaking scene.
Yeah,
and I was really bugged by the so that scene where like they run into the old like Jurassic Park.
Yes,
the overgrown ruins.
Gosh.
Yeah, to go on a little nostalgia trip. That was and there was a little bit of character moments in that about. And then the later scene where they're kind of talking about the divorce and that brotherly like bond and stuff. So great scenes. Like I was ashamed. I'm sitting there watching that, and even while I'm watching it, I'm thinking like, this is a good scene. It's just this is a weird spot for it.
Yeah,
because we're kind of getting towards the end of the movie. Things are trying to get exciting. And
then we have to stop and have this moment.
Yeah, and because, you can't not have the moment, right?
Yeah.
It's important for their characters. But, it's just in the wrong spot, I think. So,
like I said,
a fan edit, though. A fan edit would probably, I would see that. If that ends up coming out, later on.
Maybe they'll release a director's cut and I'll be right. Because I truly believe there's like 10 minutes of a lot of this character stuff. Like, I believe there really is. I think there's maybe even more.
More Chris Pratt. More Bryce Dallas Howard. That where she's in just like, they like threw out a lot key character development scenes. Like, that's why it was weird. Like that part where Chris Pratt gets attacked by the winged dinosaur and then she shoots it. And then they like make out, action movie style, and then what is it? Art complete?
Yeah, it's odd.
And that was it was almost like the end of her story. It was like she learned something. It's because she gained the heart of.
Even then, I thought it would have been even funnier. Like, they could have still made that scene work if instead she shoots the dinosaur and then she just, like, grabs him. And then we get that control back. Like, she just, like, swings back and out. I thought that would...
Yeah, she, like, kicks it. She's back to her old self.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
That would have been
great.
For
sure. Hopefully it's there. Hopefully it's there. I'll definitely be down if, later on down the road they come out with a director's cut. I'll check it out for sure. It could be way better. It could be way better.
Yeah.
Because the dinosaur stuff was alright. Except the end fight.
The end fight.
Go ahead and talk about the end fight. Can we
reverse? Because I want to talk about the new dinosaur and then lead into that.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Because let's talk about So he has
powers.
Lots of superpowers.
Yeah, and he's like
the X, all the X-Men.
No, he's like Cartman in South Park when they get the ninja weapon, and he's like, "I have mind reading powers too, except they're better than Kyle's."
Yeah,
it's that. It's like
he's like always that. This dinosaur always has like a superpower to like one up the humans.
This was something I have to credit. Doug Walker was talking about this when he was talking about Jurassic Park. That, the first power is the dinosaur can lower its body temperature for thermals, So there's this security guard in there eating a sandwich just like, most dangerous dinosaur we've ever made. Not going to look at the cameras.
Yeah, but I think part of the movie was it was just kind of a really poorly trained staff at Jurassic World, for sure. It was like the staff of like Six Flags.
Hey, I felt for that kid. I felt for that kid running the line though.
Oh yeah,
I've been in that. I've been there. I've been working at an amusement ride, and you're just like, look, man, I just work here. I'm sorry.
That was
a good.
I'm not gonna go too far into that because I'm not gonna start just like picking out plot holes. Because you get a lot of that. But I think part of it is you need to just suspend your belief because it is Dinosaur Island.
Well, one could argue if this park's been up and running for at least 10 years, then, of course, things will always get a little lax,
Makes sense.
That's every major park ever. But, it's like, so first the dinosaur has thermal powers, and then we find out it can do chameleon stuff and change, and then, it's part... This was something that bugs me even now. So it's part T-Rex, it's part raptor, it's part tree frog, it's part, chameleon. What on earth is like...
Well, so basically Henry Wu was talking about how, basically it was kind of a thing for, every, problem they would encounter... they would pick an animal to fix it, kind of like
just
that
staple gun it in there.
That episode of Rick and Morty.
Yes,
where he's just he's just trying to fix it by throwing animal DNA into it. So that's basically what's happening, right? And then but it's just causing unforeseen superpowers.
Which with the Henry Wu thing, that is, I think that's the one thing that does universally has met everyone I've talked to, whether they loved it or hated this movie. Everyone is held up by the fact that why would Henry not tell them what the dinosaur can do when it got out? That's the one thing. It's this. I don't care how the movie explains it. It's my gosh. This was the thing that needed to really be addressed. They needed to establish that Engine is not the same as the guy who runs this.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was very well. Yeah, it wasn't entirely well explained. It doesn't become apparent until the very end.
Yeah,
it's the thing, and then you're just kind of well, okay. I guess I understand why that would be. It's just it just kind of comes abruptly. That you're just you just kind of realize that okay, so he the Engine just owns the dinosaurs and the DNA, the gene splicing and the kind of the genetic engineering aspect of it, and then the park is its own business.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily share it. They can't share secrets between.
But that's my problem with this whole thing is it's oh okay oh, like, what's in this? The whole plot twist of this is that it's part raptor, and so it can communicate with the raptors, thus ending the raptor squad. Like, that's one of those things where it's like they write a story that the Henry Wu isn't telling them everything because it's part raptor, so that they can have that twist, which was a decent twist, but it's like, that's stupid. In the face to, like, in any movie, even on movie logic, that's just really, really stupid. You know?
I feel like, it's just a movie, where you just have to suspend your disbelief. Like I said, it is Dinosaur Island. And so, you can't, sure, like, in any kind of real world situation, like, no one will allow there to be a Dinosaur Island where, in the face of, like, people dying, they wouldn't immediately have to, the government, or they would at least come in and, like, NATO would, like, fly into Costa Rica. It's not just, like, a third world country over there. And so in any real world situation, sure. In this movie, I guess I'm unsure whether or not it's fair or unfair to say they should have explained all this when they didn't even get, like, the characters right.
But I mean, my point is, it's like, if you want it to be half raptor is the twist, then you've got to find a better way to hide that information than, John Woo didn't tell them because he's a dick. Not John Woo, Henry Woo. Henry Woo didn't tell him because he's a dick. Like, because that's really what it is. Is Henry Woo is the most pretentious man in science, who's like, I have created dinosaurs and I'm so smart. And he just blatantly doesn't tell this guy, this owner of this park, when this thing is running towards tons of people. Like, that's what really bugs me about it.
Yeah, but that just kind of goes back to what we're saying. There's nothing like meaning. There's not like kind of a meaning to this movie. It's not like this kind of straightforward, tight storyline of the previous Jurassic Parks. I guess there's a little bit in there about, like, the kind of corporatization things that, like, for years were just kind of, like, animals.
Yeah.
And, corporate sponsorship kind of going out of control, I suppose, in an exaggerated way.
Yeah.
Where, like, people are being eaten by...
I don't know, I just think...
The Indominus Rex hunts for sport, Alec.
Shut up.
Like, it doesn't even...
The Indominus Rex hunts for sick kill cams.
Yeah, it's like Indominus Rex. What is best in life?
To clutch your enemies, to drive them before you, and they hear the lamentations of the women.
Oh man!
Indominus Rex kills for sick.
Hey,
quick
the Raptor stuff, at the very least, was pretty cool. For how short it was short. Not much there.
Like,
besides Vincent D'Onofrio,
he's
coming in and being like 10 times the actor of everyone else on the set.
True, but he was cartoony as all hell. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he does it so well. He
does it well.
He pulls cartoon villain very well. Like, Daredevil. I kept waiting for him to be like, "Thank you, Wesley."
No, like he is really good at his role, but it's like such a cartoony, corny written role.
Yeah,
he just kind of ran with it. Like, he did it too well.
Yeah. Exactly, especially his death at the end. So we gotta talk about that because, that was completely out of place. Because his character, I felt at certain times wasn't all that bad. I mean, sure, he's like at the beginning, he's like, oh, we could utilize these raptors, and it's like, okay, I mean, sure, that's like not a very popular that's kind of like war profiteer kind of like guy right there, who's like, let's use this for war. It's like every movie like this, it's like, we must use this tech science for war. And the scientists
Wait,
are like,
there's another
no,
war.
you could never use this science for war. So that's not so bad, right? Like that's kind of the cartoon villain thing you were talking about.
That's the modern day sci-fi.
Yeah. So, and then it kind of progresses. Once like things really started hitting the fan. I mean, it felt like he was just genuinely trying to like save lives. And like whatever, like send the raptors after him. Obviously, these plot holes. It's like that's obviously in real would never be like a good idea.
Yeah.
But it's like we'll send the all of his actions never really pointed to like, at the end he's just like gonna be really evil to like justify his death.
Yeah.
For a raptor that just kind of appears out of nowhere.
Just straight up, just kind of struts in. But when they say like, oh, this dinosaur kills for sport, the raptors really kill for sport too, because they don't really eat anyone. They just kind of kill them and then keep chasing Chris Pratt.
Yeah, that's true. It's they would have less time if they were eating all this.
I'm pretty sure they just kill people and then keep going. So,
I don't know how that works, but we're going to have to go ahead and get on to our final thoughts for Jurassic World.
Yep. I say I'll go first. My final thought is that in dinosaur fight, albeit cool to see like Raptor and T-Rex finally coming together for one big showdown, that was the goofiest like thing in Jurassic Park to date. And I'll contend with everyone. That is like the logic of we need more teeth to win is silly as all hell, and Deus Ex Mosasaurus only made it goofier.
Definitely. Yeah, at the end of the day, I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of this. I mean, the trailers were always exciting. The trailers very accurately reflected the kind of like, this movie is not all that serious. I mean, it's supposed to be, but it's just kind of you have to suspend the disbelief here, in order to enjoy it. And if you're ready to do that, there's plenty of dinosaurs to keep you entertained. But this is not going to be anybody's best performance for sure.
Certainly not.
But it might not be all their fault. I mean, there was probably a lot of push for this movie in all different directions for what this should be about.
Oh, Kyle, they gotta fish out at least 2 more movies out of this franchise.
That's what they wanted to do. We'll see if that happens. I'll come Monday, get the
box office.
I'll probably check the box office numbers, and then I'll think about whether or not they're going to make another one.
Yeah,
I don't think they've announced one yet, so it didn't do that well.
True.
They wanted this to be like the first in like maybe a trilogy, but I don't know how they're gonna make a trilogy out of that.
They don't know how they're gonna make a trilogy.
Unless maybe like it's a movie about raptors being utilized in war. That would be that sounds pretty cool. So I guess we're gonna have to go ahead and shut this down. We are out of time for today. If you like what you heard, you can always recommend us to a friend, and also like the podcast, and there's always that subscribe button. If you never want to miss an episode, hit subscribe, and we will be with you always. Yep. So you can always send us an email over at browncastultra.com with any kind of questions or comments or critique that you may have. And I think I'm gonna have to rewatch the first 2 Jurassic Park movies now. I didn't do it beforehand, but this movie made me miss them because it is far inferior.
Yep. You know what though, Kyle? Like, with this podcast, you see, Kyle, you stood on the shoulders of greater men, and before you even knew what you had, you took it and you're patenting it, and now you're selling it. You're selling it, Kyle.
Oh man. No Jeff Goldblum.